Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? My name is Rob Carmona, and welcome back to another episode of Rob the Mic. So, the year so far, I want to just jump right into it because I feel like I kind of have to. The year so far has been a little on the hectic side. I was trying to see how it was going to go, trying to set the vibe, trying to, keep up, stay positive, and somehow, I don't know what's going on, but the universe is testing me. Like it was testing me going into the new year, and it's testing me in the new year so far. Granted, we're a little over a week into it, right? Like a week and a half, but I'm tired. I'm tired. And I'm sure a lot of you are probably in the same boat. And I hope that, honestly, I hope you're not. I hope you're not in the same boat because I don't want you to be in the same boat. I don't want you to be experiencing this whole like, I'm tired, I'm over it, like type of situation. I don't want that for you. I want better things. So I hope you guys are in a better spot than I am. But there's also been some really amazing positives. And I know I had mentioned that a friend of mine was dealing with like a possible medical situation. She just underwent surgery yesterday. The surgery went really, really well, like best case scenario type of thing. Recovery incredible. She's up and walking around the hospital. Everything's really good. She's looking really good. So it's exciting. It's really, really exciting. So even though we're off to a rough start, we're also off to a really great start because something like that happened. So stoked on that. Very, very stoked on that. And I spent some time with Albert over the weekend. Actually, you know what? Before I even get to Albert, like just let's go back to I'm going to talk about the weekend as a whole. Like I spent some time with some people that I really, really love and I haven't seen in a while. And it seemed like it was like for the first weekend of the year, like the first full weekend, I feel like, which I guess no, it's technically the second one, right? I don't know, whatever. You guys know what I'm trying to say. It felt really good to start off the year having a weekend the way that I did. Saturday, I met up with a couple buddies from Wrong Fitment Crew for Josh's birthday. A buddy of mine, Josh, which I know I've talked about here on the show. And it was tight because he was actually going to take off to Vegas that day, but he wanted to do a little cars and coffee in the morning and then meet up at a brewery after that. So got to kick it, talk with some people, hang out with all the kids, because of course the homies have kids now. So we're chilling, playing on the swings, running back and forth, talking about dolphins and all kinds of amazing things that kid think about, right? So kids are a trip, man. They really are. But they bring so much life, and it's awesome to kind of experience this next chapter, especially within the automotive realm, with like homies bringing in their kids, and now we're gonna get to show them these things, and just like you're gonna have so many aunts and uncles that you're gonna be exposed to because of the car scene. I feel like kids automatically you get roped into that type of thing. Like I was talking about with like Izzy and his baby Adrian, and it's I gain a nephew. That's the way I see it. I gain a nephew, and it's tight. It's tight to be in that Theo position, and I'm really excited to see how things progress over the years. But it was tight to experience what I did on Saturday. And it's the best when you see those kids and they light up when they see you, because it's just having that sort of that connection with them. Like it feels really, really good. So it was tight to have that to start my day. And then Saturday afternoon, I actually went to shoot a lowrider event that was in Santa Fe Springs for Click Studios. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Amazing cars, even more amazing people. I got to run into some friends that I had no idea were going to be there, which is really cool. So I ran into a couple of the guys from Genocide, ran into Joe, ran into Gerson, and made some new friends, which is really cool. Shook some hands, took some pictures. Well, took a lot of pictures, which if you guys follow me on my personal page, Rob This Boss, so it's ROBTHISBAUS, you can check out some of the photography that I'll be posting. I started posting on Monday some of the work from Saturday. So we'll see what I end up posting today. And then come Friday, I'm going to be kind of bouncing between my New Year's Day event and this past Saturday. But either way, I was able to shoot some really amazing stuff, and I'm so excited to show you guys. And I know I've talked about this before, but it feels really good to be back in that sort of creative space where I want to create and I want to show, I want to share, and I want to just be involved again. Because again, being in this sector of automotive specifically has kind of, actually scratch kind of, like it's fully reignited something that was dying out. If not, a big portion was kind of already dead, but it's coming back. And it feels good to be back in this space. So I got to create, got to see some people, smile, love, laugh, share stories, make more memories. I got to create. And then come Sunday, I was able to spend the day with Albert and Yessie, which is absolutely incredible. And it's always good times with them. That's why I love spending time with them, because I know that every single time is going to be amazing. We're going to make great memories. We're going to laugh as hard as we can. And it was cool. We got some fab work done on Albert's truck. We got to work on another project and just do all kinds of shit. And it was really cool. And one thing that I started to think about, which is kind of leading me to the focus of this episode, is on Sunday, Albert and I were talking about food, because it was funny. I told him I was going to eat something small before I went to his house. So I was like, yo, bro, I'm going to make a PB&J real quick, shower, change, and then dip out. And he's like, all right, cool. So he ended up doing the same thing. Like, he had a PB&J. We both just had something small as like a filler, right? So he was cleaning, getting some stuff ready. I was on my way to his place. I get there and he's like, all right, dude, so what are we doing for food? Like, first question, first and foremost, like, not even how you're doing, what's up? It was just a quick hug. And then, like, what are we doing for food? So we're sitting there thinking. And for my New Year's, usually what I try to do, because sometimes you just can't. But the first time I have something, whether it's like pizza, a sandwich, a burrito, tacos, anything like that, I always want the first one to be fire, or as close to fire as possible. Again, sometimes it's out of your hands. Let's say you're in a situation and you got to eat and there's only something, whatever's there is there. Cool. Not a big deal. You could still make up for it the way I see it. But towards the beginning of the year, I do like to set a standard. So it's like, all right, cool. Had bomb pizza, check. Had bomb sandwich, check. And then keep it moving, right? So we're sitting there talking and he's like, dude, honestly, I want you to have this burrito place. So I said, all right, cool. Had me a really bomb, like, burrito, like really, really bomb. It was tight because it was basically chile verde de puerco. So it was like that, lettuce, tomato, rice, sour cream, guac. It was the size of a to-go container, and it was covered in red enchilada sauce and queso. Fire. So that was bomb. And then later in the day, we were trying to figure something out too. And we were trying to get Wingstop, but the wait was crazy. It was like 45 minutes. So then we ended up getting pizza from this place in Fontana called My New York Pizza, or My New York Slice, or something like that. One of those two. Don't quote me on that. But the wait was about the same, but we figured, look, if we order it for delivery, we can go home, make a couple drinks, kick back, and then the pizza will show up, right? So that's what we ended up doing. Went back to the pad. We're just chilling out, made a couple drinks, had some bomb pizza, and just kept it moving. After that, we kept doing some fab work and just finishing out. But I was thinking, this is kind of how it goes every week, right? Like, I always have one idea for the podcast and then I end up throwing it out last minute because I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I want to do this, because I started to think about food and the importance of it, and kind of where it's taken place right now at the beginning of my year. Because I feel like a lot of the decisions that I'm making, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, like, it tends to be involving food this year for some reason. Like, I'm like, not like I'm hyper fixated on it, but it's just kind of like that. Like, if I go somewhere, if I go run errands, I'm like, well, I wonder what food's around there, or I wonder what I'm going to eat. Like, I've been asking myself that a lot. So not that I used to not think about that, but food was, I don't know, it hasn't really been so important as it is right now in this moment. So I'm trying to really focus on that, because it's like we've talking about before, right? Like, I'm trying to focus on what makes me happy, trying to be hyper aware of that. So aside from the creative side, like getting back heavy into design, getting back heavy into any sort of like media creation when it comes to like cinema or photo, there's also another side of that too, which jumping back into fashion is really helping me out, and also jumping heavy into food. Because again, not that I don't care about food, because I love food. love it, love it, love it, love it. I love exploring new places. I'm all about the journey. I'm all about everything. I want it. I want to experience it. I don't care where I have to drive. I don't care where I have to go. I'm going to get something new, and I want something really bomb. And I mean, in the past, dude, I've driven down. I mean, I've gone to Vegas for lunch with my Uncle Fredo. And I mean, it was just random. And we've done it for food. Because it was just one day, he just hit me up and was like, yo, you want to go to Vegas for lunch? I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm serious. I was like, okay, let's go. Went out, I had some really bomb food, chilled out, and then came back. And I've also had homies be like, hey, do you want to go get a burger? I'm like, okay, where do you want to go? Oh, there's a place in San Diego that's really bomb. I'm like, okay, fuck it, let's run it up. Drive 2 hours for a burger, and then come back home. Like, sometimes it's worth it. It's worth the adventure. It's like, oh, we got to go here. We got to go here. Oh, then you got to go find this little hole in the wall, and you got to find this little place. And that's what it's all about. And I want to incorporate more of those things into this year. Because as much as I tried to last year, I didn't really hit a lot of the marks. So I'm really trying to expand and explore more this year. Because I've had so many years in the past where it was non-stop. Almost every meal that I was having, especially on the weekends, was somewhere different, someplace different. Don't get me wrong, I have my comfort food places that I know are going to hit every single time. But this year, again, the start that we're at, I'm like, okay, this is definitely continue exploring, continue checking out, and also focus on that a little bit more. But I feel like where I have to start is like a little bit of my culinary history per se. So I grew up around chefs. My grandpa, who was like married into my family, because my grandma's like she's my blood grandma, right? So her husband, he's been around since I was born. So him and his brother, which his brother is Carlos, or one of his brothers is Carlos, the one who I was talking to you guys about recently that passed from cancer. So I grew up around both of them. They had a catering business together, and they both worked in professional kitchens together. So a lot of the times I would get to go hang out with them in the kitchens, wherever they worked, whether it was like a really like famous steakhouse or if they worked at a really nice golf course, whatever. I got to go and hang out. So I got to see them cook. I got to watch them do all kinds of stuff. And when they were doing caterings, I was always running around and just kind of watching them, like peeking over, like looking at the counters, and they just be sitting there like chopping away, cooking all this, smelling all the things, adding spices here, doing this, doing that. So I guess you can say I was always enamored by food, but it was inevitable that I was going to be involved in food in some way. Like, there was no physical way for me to get away from it. And also my grandma, as with a lot of our grandmas, right? Like, our grandmas love to cook. My mom, same thing. So I started cooking at a very, very young age. Very, very young age. Like, my mom made sure that I was in the kitchen and she knew, and that I knew how to be self-sufficient. Minimum how to make a sandwich. And then how to make eggs, how to make different kinds of eggs, how to cook bacon, how to cook, all that type of stuff. And then as I got older, I carried it with me. And I kind of let it go for a little while, and then I came back. But what I noticed is it was a comfort thing for me. It's where I love to be. The kitchen is where I love to be. Like, I love creating, and I love being in front of my computer because I can kind of go wherever I want, do whatever I want, create at any time. But man, there's something about sitting in a kitchen and getting down that's just, it makes me feel at home. I don't care where I am. I don't care if I'm in an Airbnb. I don't care if I'm in a friend's house. Anything. If there's a burner in front of me, a pan, and a knife, I'm going to figure it out. And it's probably going to be really great. So I started to teach myself certain skills, certain techniques, how to hold a knife, different types of knives and why you use them, serving techniques, cooking techniques, all kinds of stuff, right? Like how to cook a steak, why you cook it this way, just all kinds of stuff, everything, different things with baking, like why you follow certain rules, why you do certain things, how to temper chocolate, this, that, and the third. I was all over the place because I just wanted to take everything in because I loved it so much. And I didn't know how much it was going to consume me at that point. And it consumed me to the point where I was pretty dead set that I was going to be a chef. And I didn't have any doubts in my mind. This is prior to design, prior to all that stuff. And I know I've briefly mentioned that before, but I'll give you guys a little more background on that. Like, I wanted to go to culinary school. I wanted to go that route. I knew I could go outside of that. Like, I didn't have to go to culinary school to start in a kitchen. But the route that I wanted to go, I was like, I need to learn certain techniques and I want to learn certain things. And my plan was to study here for a little bit and then go abroad. I wanted to go to a couple different places. I had a certain plan, right? But when I went to tour one of the schools that I wanted to go to, I ended up meeting a French chef. For some reason, he just took to me. So we started talking. And the guy goes, why do you want to cook? Start talking to him. We really get into it. And so he goes, be careful. It's like, because you seem to really, really love this. He goes, and there's a difference between people who love this and people who love this. And yours seems to be the latter. He's like, what I don't want you to do is come here. He goes, because you're going to learn. You will learn a ton. He's like, but you can sometimes learn so much that it takes the magic away. And you could come to, because I'm not going to say you're going to come to hate it. He goes, but you could. And that when I heard that, and once we had that conversation, it kind of shifted my entire way that I saw my career going. It changed everything about food for me. Because, that kind of ended up happening with design. Because I remember I used to design so freely and carelessly and just explore and do certain things. And now, for the life of me, there's just certain things I cannot do because fundamentally they're wrong. And I know I can break the rules. I know I can do whatever I want. It's my art. There's essentially no right or wrong way for doing things. But if you want to get really technical, there is. For sure. There's a lot of right and wrong ways to do things in design. Certain things with spacing, certain things with sizing, with, type formations and how you merge certain things, how you do certain things, how you treat certain things, There's just rules that can't be broken. And I think once you have those sorts of fundamental tools, it just kind of strips it away a little bit. And it's like, oh man, what am I doing? What am I doing? Right? And I didn't want to lose that about food because it's not that I'm very, I guess I am. Like, I'm very exploratory when it comes to food and when I'm cooking, and I love doing certain things. I love shooting off the hip. Like, a big thing I really love doing is like using leftovers to make something new. So like, it's a thing for me. If there's like some leftover pollo in the fridge or carne asada or some sort of random protein, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? There's nothing else. What am I going to do? Okay, I find some noodles. Okay, let's see what's up with this. All right, let's see. Okay, oh, I have this sauce right here. If I mix this, and this with these ingredients and these onions and this, that, and these peppers, oh, this is going to be great. Put this in here. Okay, what about these seasonings? Start going off. Next thing you know, I got a new dish I've never had before. And it was just completely shooting off the hip. Because I know how certain things work. Do I know everything? No, of course not. Of course not. But do I understand how a lot of these flavors work together? Yes. Yes, very much so. And a lot of that's because of the training that I've had and the people that I grew up around. And I never stayed in one place when it came to cooking because I was always trying to learn. I was following all kinds of chefs and seeing what they're doing and why they're doing it and what inspires them and what drives them. Because a lot of those things ended up driving me. And it drove me closer to food in that way. So it's a very comforting thing for me. I'm really happy that I didn't go that route. I'm glad that I went the design route because I feel like it's not that I knew that I'd be okay with hating design or aspects of it, but I knew that I could be and that I could swallow that pill and that would be fine. Just kind of taking it as the career path and saying, okay, this is something I'm really good at doing and I love it, but I'm okay with walking away from it if I ever have to. And with food, I asked myself the same questions and I wasn't willing to do that. for the life of me, I was like, there's no way I could ever walk away from food. No way. And that's what it boiled down to. And you know what I was thinking about too, you guys, is on New Year's Eve when I came home, and I think I mentioned it, that like my family and I were kind of just like fending for ourselves. So there was no New Year's Eve dinner. But I was very dead set on having New Year's Eve dinner, even if it was for myself. And that's what it boiled down to, was doing it for me. So, reached into the fridge, I found, I think I had some roast and got some veggies, started throwing some stuff together. I had one idea of what I was going to do, ended up completely flipping that and making a pasta. The pasta was phenomenal. Phenomenal. And it was just using what I had, just using my imagination, like heart, imagination, love. And you know what? I remember that first bite when I sat down here in the room and I put on Yellowstone and I was just like, Happy New Year's. That first bite was so bomb. And like in that moment, I was like, this is why I do it. This is why I love to cook. This is why this is so much a part of me. This thing makes me more myself than so many other things, right? Like as much as cars, as much as the people around me, as much as art, all these things, fashion, cooking is a very major part of that. And again, having that dish in front of me solidified that. And it showed me, I think, that this year, and I know it might sound cheesy, but it's like this year, that's what it's going to be based in. Again, that continued search for happiness. The continued search for what is it that drives me, what makes my heart beat fast. Because I'm excited, because it makes me want to explore, it makes me want to go search and uncover more things. So that's why today we're talking about food, because of the importance that it has on my life and what I want it to do for me this year, because it's going to give me so much. Even today I was having conversations with people about where we're going to eat, why we're going to eat there, and how bomb it looks, and this is that, and oh, look at the ingredients they use, oh my god, look at the menu, blah blah blah, oh look at, they use this, and just going off about it. And I'm like, yeah, this year, I don't know if it's necessarily the year of food, but it's definitely the year of just exploration and continuing that search for happiness. And this just so happens to be a big part of that, And I think whether it's going to a new city, state, country, I think all in all, like, you need to venture out and try new things, because there's certain places that I think they kind of open up your mind, they open up your palate. For homies who've never been to LA, and when they come here, it's so overwhelming because there's so much you can do, there's so much you can eat. You can try cuisine from all kinds of different places. You can have fusion. And honestly, that's one of my favorite things. Ooh, fusion food. Get out of here. Get out of here. Like one of my favorites, I think hands down one of my favorites, fusion wise, I'd say like Korean and Mexican together. Get out of here, bro. That food is the most fire. The most fire. Because it's like you have two different cultures that love flavor, that love spice, that just love cooking with heart. You bring those things together, it's done. It's done, right? But you got to try stuff. Check it out, expand. Because honestly, food is where the soul is at. You got people that really love, that really care, that develop these menus, that figure this stuff out because they want to share it with you. Because it's not just about money. It's not just about money. Money's nice too. Don't get me wrong. There's certain restaurants I know they be doing well. But it's about more than that. It's about what they're giving the people. It's about what the people are taking from it. How it expands their mind. Maybe they've never had gochujang before. They have it at a certain restaurant. They're like, oh, what is this? Fire. Maybe they never had kimchi before. They have that. It's fire. And then on my side, let's say they have some really bomb masala they've never had before. Because let's say they live in the Midwest and it's not really there. Fire. They have a really bomb salsa verde, habanero, lo que sea. And they're like, yo, all of a sudden, palate opens up, brain explodes, right? Because you're expanding, you're searching, you're looking, and it's going to keep opening you up, which is exciting. So I feel like for the travels that I'm trying to plan this year, whether it's again out of the state, out of the country, even here too, like there's a lot of spots within California, especially SoCal, like yeah, especially SoCal, that I still haven't explored yet. But again, more so out of the state and out of the country. I'm trying to base my travels around food. I'm like, yo, all right, I gotta go to this place because I want to try this sandwich. Oh, I want to go to this place because they got this barbecue. I need it. Like that's it. There's certain things I want to go to. Like right now, I was talking to a buddy, or today I was talking to a buddy, not right now, but earlier today I was talking to a buddy, Lucas, and he runs this event called Riverside that's held in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I've never been to Tennessee, and I've always wanted to go. And I want to go to Nashville. I want to check it all out. But I really want to go to his event. But at the same time, I'm like trying to plan it out because I'm like, yo, food. Where am I at? I've never been to this place. I don't know where I'm going. Like I have literally no idea. Aside from talking to him and just being like, okay, I want to plan this out. I want to do this. It's gonna be around food. Because that's where my comfort's at. So if I can find certain spots, okay, I found a pizza place here. I'm gonna try that one. Looks good. Found sandwich place. I'm gonna try this here. I found this, fried chicken. I'm gonna try this here. Whatever. I just want to try stuff. Ice cream, XYZ. That's where it's at. So for those of you guys who are traveling this year, who are gonna be exploring, make that a priority. Because food is gonna land you in some wild places for sure, for sure, for sure. And what's interesting, something also that I've been noticing a lot too, is like I've been trying to look at like food trends and what I've been noticing in the last year. And what's crazy is not even the last year, maybe the last couple of years, but I think the explosion in like with like hot chicken and birria, which actually, hold on, really quick on birria. So birria is blowing up, right? Like it's huge, it's everywhere now. But it's actually wrong. I know a lot of you are probably like, wait, what? Where's he going with this? What are you talking about? So hear me out. Birria is made traditionally with goat meat. So it's made de chivo. That's birria. When you have it of beef, it's actually called barbacoa. So there's a difference. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's beef birria, which is made very similarly, but it's not the same thing because one is again goat, the other one is beef, but they're two separate things. So a lot of this whole boom with birria, like it's actually barbacoa, right? So a lot of these taco places popping up, oh, birria this, birria that. It's not. And also, I think birria is kind of an acquired taste because goat is very, it can be difficult to cook. It can be a little gamey. It can be a little interesting. So if you don't know what you're doing or you don't know how to do it, it's tough. And have I had some really good birria? Yes. Have I had some bad birria? 100%. Same thing with barbacoa. I think it's really easy to just kind of boof it with stuff like that. But at the same time, I think it's really awesome to see how much it's exploded. Like even to the point where I think now I saw an ad that Jack in the Box is having birria, but it's de res, so beef. So it's technically barbacoa. But I'm like, what? That's wild. And I know Del Taco has something on it too. And it's everywhere. But it's like, damn, these types of cultural foods have gotten so big that it's exploded to mainstream, right? And people love it because it's bomb. It's bomb. If you've never had that type of food before, if you've never had, either one, for example, again, birria, just go try it. Go try it. It's the most dank thing ever because it's just essentially it's stewed meat. And then usually you'll get some of the stew on the side. So it comes like in a little cup and you can dip your taco, burrito, quesadilla, lo que sea, anything that you get. You dip it in there, eat it up. Down, it's crazy. My mouth's getting all watery. It's wild. And now I'm also hella hungry, as if I didn't eat before I started recording this. But it's so dank, so dank. And then the whole hot chicken movement too. Oh my god, like I love chicken so much, especially fried chicken. Ooh, give me some fried chicken. Super fire. Super fire. Like for myself, one of my favorite local spots here, I would have to say there's a Korean spot called Holdak. It's like HOLDAAK. Oh my god, fire. Like the flavor in the chicken, they give you a bunch of different options for like spice and like toppings and stuff like that you want on your sandwich. Fire. Quality of the chicken, fire. The fries, bomb. Like, that's it. But at the same time, you gotta watch out because I've also had some not so good. I'm not gonna say really bad hot chicken, but not so good. Where the flavor isn't there and it's just kind of they make it seem like they just jumped into the trend. Like it's just another chicken spot. But there's a difference, right? It's kind of like when you go to, like, for example, pizza. There's certain places you're like, this pizza's fire. Everything about it's fire. I sit here and you know they love what they do. And then there's other pizza places that you go to and you're just like, this is just a business. They got some random dough, some random sauce, and it kind of tastes like it. Like, yeah, it'll hit the spot when you need it to hit the spot, but it's not where you want to be. But it's like it's been really interesting to watch. For me, I feel like those two things blow up because they're everywhere. Hot chicken is everywhere. Birria is everywhere. So it's like I'm always curious and I wonder what's going to be the next thing to blow up because you try to call it. You try to think, you try and look and see what trends or what's going on, and it's tough because I kind of knew from the hot chicken side, I knew that was going to get big because as it started growing, I was just like, "Oh yeah, man, this is going to hit. Wherever it like somehow this is going to hit. I just know it." You know? And it did. Granted, it did. And it's tight because again, it's everywhere, but now it's just like a having to search to find the best one, which can be kind of like a fun journey too, right? Because it's like, oh, dude, there's 100 spots, but these two are dank. And for example, I know for myself locally, I've definitely done that. I have my 2-3 local places, not in any necessary order, but I do have my go-tos 100%. And it's also been really tight to see like food festivals growing, like where it's like they have a little bit of everything, and you have stuff like Smorgasburg in LA, which is really tight. So you basically pull up, ton of vendors, all kinds of different foods, seafood, Greek, Asian, Latino, whatever, all kinds, barbecue, everything, like stuff. Seeing those kind of things grow is sick. And they're so much fun. If you guys have never attended anything like that, and let's say you come to LA, plan your trip around something like that. Check it out. Because if you're curious about foods, it's the best time to do it because you can get a lot of small dishes and just try different things out that maybe you've never had before, but you're curious about. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. I know there's a really big one that goes down at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. That one's really tight. And there's a bunch that go down all over LA. I caught wind recently of a chicken tender festival, and that's straight up all it is. You buy like your pass, and I forgot how much the tickets were. I think they were like $40, but it's unlimited tendies, and you go and you do your thing. You get to try all these tendies from all these different people and sandwiches and this and that. But it's like, that's amazing. That's fucking amazing. Like, I love that. Why would I not want to go to a place and just eat fried chicken all day? Like, that's my kind of vibe. If y'all didn't know by now, that's my vibe for sure. Catch me there. Leave me there. I'll die happy. It is what it is. But seeing the explosion of all of that is tight because the food industry is changing and it's shifting. And I think a big part in that change and in that shift is like Instagram and how would you say, like, short form content, because it's how we find out about food places now, right? It's us sending each other stuff on Instagram or TikTok or, anything, or recipes and stuff like that. For example, even Pinterest. Pinterest has kind of changed up too, right? Like they started incorporating video. They started incorporating being able to send stuff and chatting and this and that. So you have all these short form content pieces that are really blowing up these places that, for example, even spots that have been around for forever, 20 years, 20 plus years, never had any sort of love, but they were good and they've been around for a long time, right? But all of a sudden somebody pulled up, made a video for them, put them on TikTok, boom, viral, explode, lines out the door, business booming, they triple, quadruple, 10 times their revenue. And it's like, oh, dude, it really is wild when you make something and you put it in the right place at the right time, like how much that can affect your business and where it'll put you. Because I know for myself, dude, it's for the last couple years, like easily since probably around COVID, maybe even a little before COVID, that's how I was finding out restaurants. It's how I still continue to find restaurants. Like I found a new pizza place today in Rancho that Albert sent me. He sent it to Yessie and I was just like, I'm going to leave this here. And he just sent it in the chat. So I'm like, every single day. I don't think there's a day that goes by, one, that I'm looking at cars, right? Number one, always looking at cars. Two, food. Those two things are my constants every single day, whether it's like coming across a new dessert, coming across a new place. And it might not be here, it might be based somewhere else. And all of a sudden, now I need to travel there. Like, there's some places I have that I recently bookmarked in OKC, like in Oklahoma. Never been to Oklahoma. Do I have homies out there? Yeah, I do actually. But there's some food places that I'm like, yo, that looks really bomb. Got to check it out. So now I have a trip that I'm trying to plan based around food, just to go do that. Same thing, I have some spots based in Texas that I want to go to. There's some spots based in Miami that I want to go to. New York. It's all over the place, right? All over the place. I have just spots sprinkled. There's a spot in NorCal too that I just found recently that I want to go check out. And I'm just like, this is it. But again, if it wasn't for short form content, I probably wouldn't have found it. And it's amazing just how that's shifted the industry, because it's a free platform, right? And some of these videos are amazing, but a lot of them, I'd say easily, probably 90% of them, maybe a little bit less, maybe on the 80 side, but I'd push closer to the 90% mark. They're homemade. It's being made by the business owners who maybe don't really even know how to work Instagram or how to do this, but they're putting clips together and they're making videos of their food. And at the end of the day, if the food is good and you can put something out there just to show people, you're going to kill it. You are going to kill it. And again, for a lot of places that I've found, they've been hitters for sure. For sure. So shouts to Instagram, shouts to TikTok, even YouTube, because right, YouTube has shorts now, but shouts to this shorter form content that's getting pushed out to make all these businesses blow up. Because again, if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have found it. People around me probably wouldn't have found it. So it's sick to see that. And I know another thing I think is really important regarding like content that you're watching and taking in when it comes to food is, I know for myself, I always try and find or like think about movies when it comes to this type of stuff too. Like, what's a really good one and how can I recommend it? Like, I've had this conversation recently with people. Like, I had it with a couple friends about food and about movies. And they're like, what's your favorite like cooking / like chef based movie? And easily, I'd say it's the movie Chef for sure. And it's with John Favreau, if I'm not mistaken. And it has a bunch of other actors in it too. I know Sofia Vergara, John Leguizamo. Who else is another one? Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson. Like, it's a pretty stacked list, but it's a badass movie. Really, really badass about food, chef, family, all of it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And on that same token, when I was figuring this out for today, because I wanted to talk about that movie and just like how great it is, and also the production, and there's a lot of things that are actually pretty accurate on like how you would do certain things and why you would do certain things that way. But these like shows, because I feel like the show part is huge because they're everywhere. There's so many food shows, right, that are super mainstream, like the British Baking Championship, down to like smaller stuff and things that started small and that got really big. Like, I have a list and I wrote it down, so I'm gonna have to look at that for you guys. But I know first and foremost, number one is The Bear. That was produced by Maddie Matheson. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. It's like, I can't stress to you guys enough how incredible that show is. It has all these moments of stress and strife and beauty that the lead chef goes through and the people around him, because it's everything, right? It's a family business, and it's like how this shit works and why it works, why it doesn't work, and why things have to get changed, and personal struggle, all kinds of stuff. But it's based in food. And at the end of the day, no matter what goes down, it's about the food. It's about the experience. And it's sick. It's so special. And I mean, I don't know Maddie, but if I did, I'd tell him to his face, like, I'm so proud of him, because he created something that's for people who love food and who care about cooking and care about preparing and how we show that to people. This is it. Like, that show kills it. 110,000%. It hits every fucking mark on the board. Kills it off the list, which is why it's done so well. It's why he just won an award for it. Because people see it. They get it. When you watch it, you're like, I understand. And Matty Matheson is a phenomenal chef as it is. That man, dude, I've probably seen every, and I'm not even exaggerating, I've probably seen every single YouTube video that he's ever made about food, like with cooking. I've seen him make everything, start to finish. Like up until today, I've seen everything. And I love watching his stuff from like Viceland too, which is like Munchies and him traveling and cooking and doing all kinds of stuff. Like that's really rad too. Like I'm just a big fan of him as a person. And the fact that he just so happens to be a chef is really badass. So if you haven't seen his show, The Bear, go watch it. Like if you need something to watch right now, go watch it right now. Go watch it today, tonight. Tell your person, if it's just you, sit your ass down, watch it. Let me know what's up. Shoot me a DM, whether it's on the podcast or my personal, shoot me a text, call me, whatever. Let's talk about it. Because I love that show. And every person I've told to go watch it, they're like, yo, the show's incredible. I'm like, see, I told you. I told you. I'm not going to lie to you. Why am I lying to you? You know what I mean? Go watch it. It's tight. So I'd say that one for sure. Next up, I'd say Chef's Table, Somebody Feed Phil, which Somebody Feed Phil is fucking amazing. That's such a great show. That guy, Phil, is a gem. I feel like he is an actual gem. And the way that he puts people on, and his whole show is just based around traveling and going to his favorite places. Whether he's in Thailand or whether he's here in LA or if he's in New York, somewhere, like he just wants to show you places that he loves and that make him feel like comfort, that make him feel love. And he shows the people behind it, you know, and it's like they're his family. Oh, this is my friend. Oh, this is my friend. Oh, this is my person. Oh, this is like, you know, she's like my mom. Oh, this is like, you know, whatever. The way he goes about it, that man, like that show, that man, amazing. Go watch that if you haven't seen it either. From there, I would say there's a show called Street Food. And if I remember correctly, there's 3 different sectors of it. I think it's Street Food Asia, USA, and Latino America, if I remember correctly. That's a really good one too. Another, I'd say my last 2, I have them written down, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No. So one is called Midnight Asia, which is tight. It's super, super tight. It's not just food. It's kind of like everything. Like it's wrapped into like nightlife and all kinds of stuff, but food is really important through this film. It's like a mini documentary type of thing. So go watch that. Really great. And the last one, which is probably one of my favorites that's like closest to home, is the Taco Chronicles. Because just go watch it. If you love tacos and you love Mexican food, and just, yeah, I'd say Mexican food, but honestly, just go watch it. If you love tacos, go do it. Do yourself a fucking favor. Go watch something. And also, it's going to make you super hungry. So I hope that there's a spot wherever, what time that's open, that you can go get some tacos after. Because if you're not craving tacos after episode 1, it's probably not the show for you. But if you do love tacos like myself, it's it. So go do it. Do yourself a favor. Blow up your mind a little bit and watch some of those. And so if you need to remember all this shit, the best thing about this episode's available all the time. You can check it out on YouTube, check it out on Spotify, right? Run this back. Oh wait, what did Rob say? What was that one show called? Just scroll back. See what's up. Oh, that's right. That's what it's called. Oh, that's what he was talking about. Go do it. And the last thing, especially when it comes to talking about, like how I was describing how Phil goes into these people and like the people who make the food. It's not just about the food itself. It's people who make the food. It's talking about like family traditions, cooking traditions, things like that. Because I know, aside from growing up with chefs, like food is very important in my family. As with a lot of us, right? Like food is a big thing. It's what brings us together. It's a binder, I would say, to use some sort of culinary talk, right? Like it is a binder. It brings us together, that regardless of whatever's going to happen or whatever's gone down or whoever said what, food is going to make you sit at the table. It'll quiet you down for a little bit. It'll level things out, you know? And for myself, especially with like the role that food has in my family, I think things have changed a lot, and it's kind of sad. And we're trying to keep those things alive. Like I know my grandma, my mom, they try. I know myself, I try. But I think where a lot of this is going is what I'm going to do in the future to set and create my own traditions and to do certain things revolving food. Like I know I've had this conversation with Albert, and we were talking about next year how we want to do a little like Thanksgiving a little bit different. We want to do it for ourselves, and like that we should do it like together, like on Thanksgiving. Because people have Friendsgiving and stuff like that. Well, it's like we are each other's family. We have families too, right? Don't get me wrong. But like let's just make food that we want to make. Let's start our own traditions. Let's start them right now. Why would we not start them now? And the more that I get older, and when I think about, when I buy my house and stuff like that, that's what I think about is the kitchen and the traditions that I'm going to start, because I want to do Sunday dinners. I want that to be a normal thing. I want my homies to already know, hey, on this Sunday of this month, every month, this is where we go. Or if it's every Sunday or whatever, or it's, I do certain things on Fridays or I do certain things on Wednesdays or whatever, like Christmas and it's Thanksgiving, whatever, any holiday or whatever the hell's going on. There's so many important memories and things that are about food that I used to have when I was a kid that I don't necessarily have now, that I want to bring back and I want to implement into my life, into the people's lives around me, things like that. So food being so important for myself, it's like, why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I try my best to keep these things alive or to bring them back? That's what I need. And it's a part of what's making me happy, right? It's a part of seeking and finding that happiness. And that's what I got to do. Just do more of it. More cooking. Because I stopped cooking for a while. I would cook every now and then, but I need to do more of it. And I've been doing a lot of it, especially in this new year. A lot of experimental cooking, a lot of picking up, seeing what I can make with whatever. But it's been great. So I got to wrap more of that. And another thing too is like showing people that I love them. Food is a big part of that. Whether it's me taking you to go eat, whether it's me buying you food, whether it's me making you food. If I make you food, it's a different kind of love. It's a different kind of love for sure. Don't get me wrong. Taking you out to eat is one thing too, because I'll probably take you somewhere good. But if I'm going to sit down or if I'm going to be at your place and I'm going to make you dinner, or if you're at my place and I make you dinner, I'm probably going to put every ounce of love that I have into it. And you're probably going to taste that. And I hope that I can continue to do that and I can continue to keep giving this gift of myself, because I feel like I give a portion of myself every time I make something, especially for people, right? Whether it's for my mom, whether it's for my homies, whether it's for the person that I'm dating. It's just, I love sharing that. I love like that interaction too. Like I love having people, getting them involved in the process. I think it's really fun. So I want to do more of that. I need it. I need it in my life. And I want to create these traditions. I want to do more things. I want to create things that have this staple that I'm next to, right? That people start to look forward to, that I look forward to. And I say, oh, you know what? This time's coming. Whether it's like my birthday or it's Christmas or something. And be like, it's my time. I get to share this with the people that I love. And I want to continue doing that, And as we close out every episode, I try and give some sort of words of advice, something, right? And I was trying to think, okay, what kind of advice could I give that's like around food, but somehow is like general enough to consider it advice, So I was thinking, and my bit of advice is this: connect with people through food. Talk about it, explore through it, open up to new flavors, possibilities, because life's too short to eat flavorless food. And my other bit of advice is you can always add more chile. Always. Don't be shy of the picas, you guys. Even if you're not used to it, just throw a little bit on there. Start yourself. Because, man, there's some There's so many good chiles out there. Love me some chile. I love spicy food, so that's where I'm at. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know it was a little bit different. We didn't jump into the normal topics or anything that we usually cover, but this is something that's very near and dear, and I'm glad that I was able to share it with you guys. I hope you guys really like this episode. Again, leave your comments below. If there's certain places you want me to check out, comment below, whether it's on my Instagram, on YouTube, whatever. Shoot me a message. Let's talk about it. Let's open up this food conversation a little bit more, because that was something I always wanted to talk about on this cast, and I never really jumped into. And this is me dipping my toes into the water of like introducing you guys the importance of food in my life and what it means to me. So let's get these conversations going and let's run it up. We got all year to do it, baby. So I appreciate you guys. Sending you guys nothing but love, light, good vibes, everything for the new year. I hope you're having a beautiful one. And I will talk to you guys and see you guys very, very soon.